do something.
Can you tell me a little bit about yourself, please?
About myself.
Yeah.
Well, I was making sculpture for a long time, and as I said in the last interview with someone, about 15 years ago, well, I've always made collages as part of the sculpture, and about 15 years ago, I found a way of making those collages permanent, and because of the digital technology at the time. So I kind of experimented a little bit with that and became very, very interested. And so since then, I've been devoting myself to two-dimensional activities where I make collages, which I've always done, and then I photograph them at high definition, print them on canvas, and then you cover them in resin and then use oil paint on top. And it started off as, well, before I did all this, I was teaching for a long time in college. But now I'm not devoting that full time. And so I've been doing that I've been showing them for about 12 years now, and slowly evolving them. They started off as what was called impossible interiors, which were illusion based. And that's extended to impossible exteriors. And then they've slowly evolved so that the stuff I'm doing now are involving people as well, slowly. But that's just early days. That's the story so far. Any questions on that?
What would you say is your biggest influence on your practice?
What would I say was the biggest influence on my practice? The ability to use digital technology in a two-dimensional way. And to, I never thought that it would be possible to do anything with these collages except frame them and show them. I don't know, it's something about the other people's ideas. I choose their ideas because they appeal to me and they're going in my direction. And I collect all of this material for a while, and then eventually every few weeks I work with it as collage. And I make 4 or 5 collages, say once a month or every 2 months with the material I've collected. And then I photograph these collages at high definition and then print them sometimes, well, mainly much larger, and then work on them on a larger scale. There are 3 or 4 stages. There's the collecting of the materials, the appropriation of the materials. Then there's the use of the materials, the images and the photography, putting them together. And then there's the printing of them onto a larger scale. And then there's a resining where I create a surface to work on. And it's a layer, it's basically a layer to work on. And then there's the painting on top. So there's 4 or 5 different parts of the process, which each one of them yields different ground, and I'm able to move because of each one of those methods.
I find it very interesting that you say appropriation rather than like, I feel as if this is a form of appreciation.
It's appropriation, yeah, because I'm using other people's photography, and I don't quite understand entirely everything about that, but I think the idea of appropriation is very much part of what's going on. It's about the images choosing, well, it's about me, the images choosing me rather than anything else.
Going on how COVID has created a digital experience when it comes to art, what do you think will happen to digital galleries and like exhibitions and artists once COVID is over?
Right, that's a very good question. I'd like to hear what you think as well. But I don't think it'll ever be the same. I think so much has moved online, and some of it's quite beneficial. It's become much more of a kind of available situation for lots of people. It's not so elitist. You know, you don't have to get into a gallery. Anyone can put it up and be seen, and it's become quite available in that sense. To be honest, one of the things I particularly hate is the virtual gallery. I hate the idea. I mean, like of what you're doing at the moment. I mean, I love the video and I love this, but the actual exhibition where you have to walk through in space, I find it very, very difficult and also not very satisfactory. You know, I'd much rather just, you know, pick a person's name, put up the image and see it. Having to walk through the galleries in this kind of illusionistic space, especially when one is dealing with illusion anyway, I find it very, very off-putting. And anyway, it's a problem which is going to go on because more and more people are doing it, and even public art galleries have their and collections have their own, you know, virtual space. So it's something we're going to have to get used to. But it's in one. I mean, one of the possibilities I think is that it's going to make art less elitist. On the other thing that's obviously already happening is that digital art is becoming collectible, as you know from the last few weeks. You know, one sold for lots of money, and even I don't understand the technology involved there or how or why. But that's going to happen because people are always going to find a way of commercializing everything. And if everything is moving online, then the online product is going to become much more of a commodity. So I see that now. But exhibitions will still go on. But I mean, exhibitions are an elitist thing anyway. It was always difficult. They were always difficult to get and access, and people are competing for them. And that's going to become even more difficult. That's where I see it. So that, in some ways, the fact that my work is semi-digital as part of the process, that's quite an asset. But it's a different thing, though. I mean, the end product I produce is physical, and you can see it and manifest it and feel it. But the digital piece is also you can also access it and get something from it. It's not quite the same thing, but you know, I'm doing that as well, so that's available. But it's got a different kind of meaning. They're all so I'm getting two for the price of one, if you like. But how do you see it developing?
I completely agree, but I do think accessibility is very important in the situation, and I feel like this,
Lost you.
yeah, and I feel like that as long as artists have access, that's the most important thing. But obviously, this is going to be commoditized, and it's going to be less and less available because people love to profit from these type of things. And it's just like you said before, it was elitist. This is also going to eventually become elitist,
Yeah.
and hopefully we're not going to do the virtual thing anymore, but we'll see. We really don't know with these things.
I think it will. No, I think people will have to do the virtual gallery. I mean, it's a necessity, whether you like it or not, whether I like it or not, which I don't. It's one of those things. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's it. That's all we have to talk about today.
Okay. So tell me about yourself. What's your background?
My background is I am currently a politics student, and I've been interning for this company, and I am bringing in an insight that is more political, and I am working with artists and trying to almost like this is the most political climate. This is the most important political climate currently, and to bring this to art is really important because
Right.
is political, everything.
Right. Of course.
And when it comes to art, it's extremely interesting because it's not as straightforward as you'd like it to be. And yeah, that is my insight. I am probably the only politics.
Right. Do you make art yourself?
No, I don't.
Oh, that's good. That's very interesting. That you should be involved in it. from a political point of view and not make it. I think that's really interesting, actually.
Yeah, think I think it's because I knew that like generally I do want to go into a more creative field. I am quite a creative person, but I'm not as I don't even know. I'm just trying to not go currently I feel it's quite a toxic climate going into politics, and I'm much more a creative person than I am a I don't even know how to describe it. It's just I feel like I'm in a very unique box, and I'm just trying to fill it out for myself.
Good. Yeah. Well, anyway, it's great that we could do this.
I know this
Excellent.
you thought very quickly. I would have never thought of this.
Okay. I've had the same problem before. Okay. Thanks a lot then. Nice to meet you. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Bye.